Welcome back to SoulBack. This is the R&B Podcast. Kyle here with Ed, as well as Sidibe's manager, Tom Leal. What's going on? Is that how you say her name, Tom?
Sidibe?
Sidibe?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So you've got we've got
I have
Van
no
Jess on
idea.
the roster, and now we have.
Oh my goodness.
Please
You
elaborate, guys. For some context here, we have this group chat. It's the SoulBack Podcast group chat. I think we need to expand on that and just start inviting people to it, so then they can really get the real. But man, Tom rarely talks about new music, but this is all he talks about these days.
For the record, anytime you like a new song, you're automatically that artist's manager somehow.
Correct.
I mean, where does this?
Well,
I
you
don't
only
get it.
like two people, so yes, that would make sense that you were there two managers. And to be
Oh.
fair, that EP is pretty dope. So I'll give Tom props on this one. His taste
Did I
isn't
even-
too bad in clients.
Did I even like Van Jess? I don't.
That's all you talked about.
You talked about
Oh.
Van Jess for a while, so yes.
Interesting.
Gosh.
Before we get started, can we shout out the show's sponsor?
Yes.
We got to shout out.
Depends.
We got to shout out a half-eaten chicken wing from KFC, the show's sponsor for the night.
Oh man.
Listen, if Tom ate a chicken wing, and we've talked about this a million times, but I wish y'all could see the actual physical evidence. This man, if this is a chicken wing, imagine that part eaten and the
Yikes.
rest thrown away. Horrible, starving children
But-
missing out on chicken wings.
But rebuttal. If you have to eat the pieces on the top and the bottom, you're like biting into bone and kind of veins and stuff. I just can't.
Veins? Are you eating uncooked chicken? Player, you
I
eat
don't
around the bones, you eat around it, and you break it in half, and that's part of the fun.
Or-
Pass.
Or you can do how Asians do it. They eat it with a fork. Haven't you seen that before, Tom?
I've seen, I've seen it. It's classic.
Yes.
How are y'all getting all of the meat on the side with a fork and I hope you got a knife.
No, there's no knife. You just
No knife.
Yeah. There's an
Well.
art to it. We have another sponsor in the house here. We've got this bottle here. I don't think you guys have ever drank this. This is
No.
this is
What is that?
soju. It is 16.5% alcohol.
What?
We're gonna have to try this one day, guys, on the SoulBack
Oh,
Podcast.
you and Tom can. I'm good.
Yeah.
I mean, we
So-
have two sponsors, guys. That's actually pretty impressive.
Keeps the lights on, I'll tell you that much.
It'll keep something on between Kyle's moonshine and Tom's half-eaten chicken.
There you
We're
go.
in big trouble.
Well, I want to first off say that the Christmas countdown is officially on per Mariah Carey's Instagram. She said it's
Ugh.
time. Have we started hearing the Mariah Carey Christmas song yet, Tom? I know you were out and about all weekend.
I actually have not heard it yet, believe it or not, but I
Hmm.
try to avoid places where that song will be playing, so that's my excuse.
Well, we got a week, and I guarantee you a week from now, that song will be blasting out of everything that has a speaker. So
Yep.
get ready. It's coming.
It's
Is it
actually
up the chart? Is it on the charts yet, Kyle?
not yet. I think
Oh.
it's gonna happen. I just
Oh, it's
know.
happening.
I just know when I used to work in retail, during the Christmas season. This was before, I mean, the Mariah song has always been huge, but I can only imagine working retail and hearing that song for 8 hours straight. Because, for me, when I worked at retail, the thing that they kept playing was the Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas stuff.
That's even worse.
Yeah, that was 8 hours of that a day, and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the whole thing, it was brutal.
Although I will say this, it's like every year the Christmas season gets longer and longer. This year was like
Yeah.
Halloween, October 31st, November 1st, the Christmas trees were out around the city. I'm like, what is going on? Do we forget
Yes.
about Thanksgiving?
That's what happened here the day after Halloween. They started putting the freaking Christmas stuff up on the poles. Next year, it will be Labor Day. And there'll be just tinsel everywhere. Get ready.
Well, it's the season of giving here, so I'm gonna run through some quick Christmas news here before I give you my gift to you guys.
No boy.
So Chris Brown released 2 Christmas songs. Alicia Keys released a Christmas album. John Legend released a song in Latin. Is this true, Tom?
no, I don't know.
Okay.
Not
You
sure.
don't know.
I
That's what I read.
Yeah,
but
you're right, but I
we haven't
bypassed
we
it.
haven't
I
we,
don't.
we haven't heard it yet.
Yes, correct.
But in terms of gifts for you guys, because this is the season of giving.
Mm-hmm.
So Tom, what I have done and what you'll see shortly, and there's a stipulation to this. I am going to purchase for you for the holiday season a Twitter verification
Oh
subscription.
man.
Oh,
You'll have the Twitter blue, but the only thing you have to do though is you have to register under the name The Real Ed Bowser and give Ashanti 5 stars for everything.
Oh,
Because
my
you can do that
goodness.
now.
you can do that now. I remember, let the record state, I told you players when this came out, I was like, look, and everybody was like, yay, blue checks for everybody. We're raining blue checks. I'm like, players, the whole point of a blue check is to verify that I am me. So fake Tom can't be fake me. But what happened, because we're all a bunch of weirdos on social media, everybody bought blue checks, and you got fake LeBron, you got fake Nestle, you got fake Starbucks. Everything's a lie. I just want to go home. I hate it here.
But there's also the official marker on the accounts too, underneath the blue.
Yeah, so now there's like
a
another check on a check. We're wearing hats on hats. What's the point?
They took that out for like a day and then they put it back because they realized that there was a flaw to the blue check system.
Oh.
I don't know where we're at now, but
let me tell you something. Elon Musk is going to destroy us all. That's all I can say.
But I do have a question here. So hypothetically speaking, Tom, if I gift you with this blue check mark and Twitter shuts down on Monday, do I get my money back?
Oh, definitely not.
No,
That
of
money's
course
not coming
not.
back.
Oh man.
In fact, you paid for the whole year, so that's none of that's coming back.
Oh man.
No, you're paying for Elon's next trip into space. Hopefully he stays.
All right. So that's Tom's gift for Christmas. And Ed, for you, I have you love R&B, right?
I do.
So how about, because this was just announced, how about I gift you a new album by Jacquees, executive produced by Future?
I hope
Whoa.
that you take that album and burn it at the stake. And you can jump into it while we're at it. Why is Jacquees making albums with Future?
That's R&B for you. That's where we're at now.
What happened to Darnell, calling Darnell. We need Darnell back on the line. Darnell made a good song with this guy. Why would you take the worst person with the worst person to make the best music? That makes no sense.
Yeah,
I think they live to kill.
I'm so lost these days in current R&B guys. I don't even know what's going on. I'm just stuck. I'm back listening to the Christopher Williams album from like 1991.
Wow.
By then, I'll be sure. I need to find something. It's not recent.
Stay in 91. I promise you.
That's all I gotta say.
All right. I do want to ask you guys this though, since we're talking about technology and Twitter and it potentially shutting down. TikTok has really been thriving, as you guys know, with all the latest dance moves that the kids are doing.
Oh boy.
And one thing that has happened due to the success of TikTok is we've seen artists like Money Long blow up with her single. Recently though, this is kind of cool, and I'm curious because we always talk about like great songs on older albums and how we wish they were singles. And now with TikTok and how it's, kind of just brought a resurgence to songs. What happened recently was Chris Brown has a song on his Indigo album. That song came out 2 years ago. Some fad started with some dance craze. Some song from 2 years ago went viral, and now it's like top charting on the Billboard 100, like really high up. It's an actual hit now. Chris Brown actually just released a new album this year, but what he's had to do is go back to that song from 2 years ago, create a music video for it, and now push that song to radio because he has to latch onto the viral success of it.
Yep.
So that's definitely something that is interesting. It kind of makes me wonder if that would work for some of these 90s artists, because Tom, you've said multiple times, like, why bother making a new album if it just comes and goes? Maybe they need to put their effort into some of their old stuff and pushing that.
I see it two ways, right? So it's like he didn't even recognize the song was that good. And then it's like, oh, he has to backtrack. Oh, people actually like this song. Now I got to push it as a single. At the same time, I do like the fact that I guess the consumer is picking what's actually good. I think that's a positive, as opposed to being force fed. It kind of went viral. People gravitated towards it. I think that's a positive, and maybe, like you said, we could grasp upon that, and other artists could take that into account. I'm not sure '90s artists are going to make that work on TikTok, but I like the concept.
I'm with you, Tom. I mean, I agree. It's cool that we've got the consumer finally having a stronger hand in this. And how many songs that we see like in our era where we're like, man, why was there no video for this? Why didn't this song get any love? This is an opportunity to do that. On the other hand, it is mighty confusing when you hear a song that you think is a new song that's like 3 years old and you got to pull from that. It's weird. I don't really hate it. Not mad at it. Not mad at it.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing is with music these days, it goes so fast. You really only have a window of like a month to promote that stuff before you move on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
So if something like TikTok can pull a song from a few years ago and, let it sit with, the consumer for a minute, I'm not mad at that because I think we do need something to slow down all of these releases because like the last time we did a podcast was probably about a month ago and so much has come out. And even earlier today, Ed was like, what do I need to listen to? I'm behind. And it's like, not only with R&B, but you also have to catch up with hip hop, which Tom, I know you've given up on that.
Yeah,
but
blame you.
There's a lot of music here, independent, major. It's a lot.
I don't think we've ever had a time where we've had more music. And, in a few weeks, I'm going to be doing my albums of the year list. I have got a list of 40-something albums I still have to catch up on because every week there are like 10 new projects coming out. Yeah. So you got EPs, you got LPs, you got major artists, you got some kind of indie artists that are getting some buzz. It's a lot to keep up with. And with music just churning like this, it's hard for anything to stick. So if something sticks on TikTok because y'all are doing some goofball dance with your grandma, more power to you.
But I'll say this, Kyle. Many of our core artists, especially those from the 90s, haven't put out anything this year or for many years now.
Nope.
I mean, it's actually, I'm not sure that TikTok is going to help them to put something out or make them interested. But so we have a lot of music, but in reality, a lot of who we want music from, it's really not coming out. And that's what to me is kind of sad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Nas keeps dropping albums like every 3 months, Ed.
Which is great.
Nas is on an incredible road. Yes. Go to soulandstereo.com and see me gush over that. But Tom's point is sound, especially in R&B. There are so many legendary artists, and no pun intended, because besides John Legend, like we don't really see the artists from the early 2000s and the 90s, and they're still around. We see them, they're performing, they're touring. Most of them still have a voice, but they aren't putting content out. Maybe it's because it's better to just tour and get the tour off the hits. Not mad at that, but I would definitely like to hear some new projects from many, many artists because legends need to come in the game and show these youngins how it's done.
Can I call someone out?
Do it.
My boy John B. He had Understand with Donnell Jones, which ended up, I think, top 5 on one of our countdown. What year was it? Was it
number 1?
2020?
Yeah.
I think it
might have
was.
been number 1. What a great song.
He had another song I like, Priceless, that same year. And then it was like Radio Silence. And I know my boy tours every weekend and is, doing great for his family. But man, that was a perfect setup, man. He hasn't put out an album in over 10 years.
Yeah.
And I know he gets it, but it's just an example. Like, it's not a priority for a lot of artists. Genuine's another one. It's been over a decade now.
Yeah. And Genuine, of all people, if he wants to capitalize on some of this viral buzz, man, put out a decent song and do your weird dance. And yes, watch it hit. So this is opportunities. And I do think we're getting to a point that wasn't here in the early 2010s, but definitely now. I think especially Gen Z is a little bit more accepting, along with kind of those super young millennials aging and wanting a little bit more mature music. I think that they would be more accepting of a lot of this stuff. We see it with the 90s samples. I think that there is an audience for that. So don't be shy. Come on back. Badu, what are you doing? SWV, come on home. Joe, where you at? Like, all of y'all, come on.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot of money that needs to be included in all of this too. So I don't know. It's a different time. I think they have to recoup from that pandemic before they can really
That's true.
put money back into the music. But
I'm recouping from the pandemic. Who you tell?
so I got to bring this up because Ed was talking about young kids wanting mature music, which may or may not be true. I don't know. But we got to talk about the Babyface album really quickly because we talked about this previously about how it's his like DJ Khaled moment. He brought together a bunch of young female artists, some of the bigger names in R&B today. I know a lot of people went into that project thinking that it would be Ella May and all these great female singers on 90s style R&B music.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like the second coming of the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. But what we got was a fusion between some Babyface type style records with what's current today. And depending on like who you are and what age bracket you're in, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But one thing that that project made me realize is that 90s R&B is never coming back, guys.
Yeah.
Because, and it's not even because of the sound, because trends come and go, but the way that kids talk these days, it's a lot more aggressive than I think how people used to talk in the 90s and the 2000s. And I think, like, I'll send Tom a song every so often, and it'll sound like a 90s record. Like I sent him that Division and Jagged Edge song. Sonically, I think it sounds like something you would hear from Jagged Edge from the 90s and 2000s. But Tom, I think you're the first to admit that those lyrics, it just doesn't connect with you. Yeah.
Oof,
and it's not like it's not authentic, because I think a kid that's listening to it right now, and when I say kid, I mean like early 20s, when they're listening to it, it's probably hitting them like it did for us when we listened to a song from the 90s. But I think because of that, it's a different time.
Exactly. This is what I've been saying for a while, because when it comes down to it, it's a different generation. People always are like, oh, you want the 90s to come back. No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't want the 90s to come back. And I understand Tom's point, and I agree with you, Kyle, on that that Division song. I wanted to like it, but the lyrics were driving me nuts. Those were some of the complaints I had about Beyonce's album, and everybody was like, "Old man, go sit down. This is how we talk now." But I think we do have to realize that even though the sounds will never come back, the verbiage will never come back because it's a different generation, there's still stuff to be learned from 90s production. And I think it comes with the storytelling in the actual song. It's not so much what you say, but how you say it, how you frame an album, how you make the album tell a story, how you make the actual song tell a story within the production. That's the stuff I want to see come back when I say I want to return to the 90s style. Not that I want people singing Unbreak My Heart or something like that. I just want the songs to be constructed a little better, because I don't like how songs now are just like random conversations over a beat, because it doesn't connect with me. They aren't syncing up. It needs to be more cohesion between production and lyrics. That's all I want. I'm just chilling. And to your point, Kyle, about the actual Babyface album, I agree with you. I thought it was okay. Check out the review on soulandstereo.com. I got the review up. The thing that I noticed, though, is the big collabos didn't work as well, but the ones with like people like Baby Tate and who else, Doechii and people like that, I felt worked a lot better with Babyface's sound than some of the bigger names, because those just, I don't know, it didn't mesh as well to me.
Are you referring to the Seven Streeter record?
You said it, I didn't.
Oh, man.
What was it called? G-Wagon? No, that sounded like a Doja Cat song. I was not with it.
I saw the title of that. I was like, Tom is not going to like this song. This is not a 90s inspired song.
Tom ain't always right, but he was right about that.
You ready for my opinion on this album?
Mm-hmm.
You already know what I'm going to say.
Oh, my God.
You haven't heard
Tony Braxton not available?
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
No, actually. All right. See, I thought it over. First, I was upset. But do you remember the Return of the Tender Lover album?
Mm-hmm. I do.
That was actually actually a really good album, really solid album, and no one even paid attention.
Yeah.
It's almost like Babyface had to do these collaborations with some younger artists who are. It's almost like a promotional tool.
Yep.
To like get heard, to collaborate with younger artists who have a big following on social media and are buzzing, to get your music heard. And I'm not mad that he did it now that I think of it that way, because people just seem to overlook Babyface's solo stuff for whatever reason.
Yeah.
He makes great music. He's just considered like a great songwriter. And that's what happens. But so I'm not mad.
Yeah.
I respect it.
No, I mean, it was a promotional thing. And again, no shots at Face. They're all going to try to make this a thing. No, it's not a thing because everybody here respects Babyface. But let's be real. Like, he looked at this as an opportunity to help guide and mentor this new generation. Yeah. And as I've said in my review, a lot of these younger artists have talent. They just need some fine tuning. They need that guiding hand. But let's be real. The songs say Babyface and LMA. So when it hits that string, Face is going to get some love too. Even on most of these songs, he's barely on it. He's like maybe tucked away at the end. So he's getting credit. Don't get that mixed up. It is definitely a marketing ploy, but I don't hate him for what he tried to do here.
Plus, I think, Tom, I was going to say, one thing that was really cool about this project is he sampled some of his older records and sang over it. So I think the intent, Tom, I think is correct. He's using it as a promotional tool. It's like, hey, I like the sample. Let me find out what it is. Turns out it's an old Babyface record. Then you start connecting the dots, and maybe some of these kids start digging into, I'm not saying they will, but they may go into the Babyface's catalog and see all the stuff he's done, because he's done a lot of legendary stuff.
I went back and listened to his discography. I hate to say it, but I feel like he's not someone who, I know he's considered a legend. I almost feel like we don't appreciate him enough, though. He's like one of the greatest songwriters of all time. He's made great songs on his own. People don't think about this. He also rolled out a label and introduced us to some of our favorite artists of all time. Like, people don't even look back at Face, like what he was involved in. So he's so low key. I feel like we don't appreciate him enough for his contributions. Like, he's one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, no lies. But you know what? If you don't put yourself out there, and I think he does it intentionally to be behind the scenes, that's what happens.
Unfortunately, this culture only celebrates the loudest. So if you aren't loud and reminding people that you're the greatest thing that ever lived, people just don't buy it. I made that argument about Nas. We were talking about him earlier. Like 10 years ago, people were like, oh, he's not that big of a deal. Because he wasn't around. Like, he was a guy that like, I'm going to let my music speak for me. That don't work in this era, player. You got to brag and boast. And Face is too busy behind the scenes, making money. Tom is right. He is a mastermind behind so much stuff. And he has a pretty freaking solid discography on his own.
And shout to people who are humble. I mean, like, we forget about like people actually being humble and not bragging about their own accomplishments. Let other people anoint you as the king or, as a legend. You don't have to call your own name out there. Like, do we forget about that? I'm just saying.
I'll say it.
All right. Well, speaking of kids here, I have a pop quiz for you guys here. You guys were not expecting this, but we're going to go through some Gen Z slangs, and you tell me what these mean.
Tom is going to bomb this.
Kyle, do you remember those episodes where we used to have Ed translate certain things for us? Now that was good times.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
That was fun.
Yes.
So this is a variation of this.
Okay.
Right, the first one.
I'm ready.
Well, Ed, you hang out with kids, so I think you already know these ones. But
that sounds terrible. Calm down.
Okay, R. Kelly. I'm just
kidding. Calm down.
All right. Well, Tom, we'll start off with the first one. What does no cap mean?
See, well, hold on a second. If I see people saying a lot, and no, I don't really know. I see it a lot. I don't know.
Ed,
oh my God!
Translate?
It means like cap means lie, so no cap means no lie.
But what does cap mean? Like, where's
cap is a lie?
But where's cap from?
I don't know where it's from. I'm just telling you what it is.
Is it like the baseball cap?
I would have thought like no limit, like sky's the limit. Like there's no cap on that thing. Like
actually, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that ain't what it is.
But that. All right.
Next one, Tom. This one the kids use a lot these days. The acronym ASL.
Wait, like chat room talk?
That's what you think it is. What does ASL mean to you?
That's like old school AOL chat room, like slang, isn't that?
Yeah.
Sort of.
Is that current
No.
as well?
So
Oh, I have no
ASL
idea.
used to mean age, sex, location.
Oh
which
wait,
is
what
a-
does it mean now?
Well,
Because
age,
that's
sex,
what I thought it was.
That's also the title of Ari Lennox's new album, which you guys should check out.
Which is
But-
really good, by the way.
But on Twitter, ASL is now short for as hell.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So you would say something like, "This food is good
Oh.
ASL," which
Wow.
means
Really?
that's what they say now.
Okay, I'm
People-
back to
people
old
are-
man egg because I didn't know this one.
People are getting so lazy they can't even type out a few extra characters.
No, they
No,
can't.
of course not.
All right.
Wow.
Tom, I think you'll know this one. Hits different.
You know this, Tom.
I mean, what's the context? So, like, use a sentence so I can.
This chicken wing hits different.
No one would ever say that, but okay.
I mean, that's just like the best chicken wing ever. No,
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
It means something
it's
very
way-
good.
like that chicken wing was way better than the KFC half-eaten chicken that sponsored this show.
Now you're going to
This
diss
chicken
our
wing hits
sponsors. This is why we have no money.
Oh, man.
All right. I've got two more for you, and then we're moving on to this discussion. Understood the assignment. I think you know this one, Tom.
Oh,
Tom,
my
you know
goodness.
this.
I don't know this.
Did John B understand the assignment when he made Cool Relax?
No, I don't know what assignment. My head's hurting from thinking about this. What assignment?
It's the assignment.
What? Who assigned him something?
I don't know who assigned him, but there was an assignment. Did he understand it?
And it looks like he did.
Yes.
And
It
who graded
means
him on this assignment? I don't.
the world at large.
Twitter assigned.
Oh,
Twitter assigned it and graded him on it.
It just means you did a good job on something. That's all it means.
Yeah.
I'm getting to a dark place here, guys. I don't like this. Ugh.
Calm down. Calm down.
All right. The last one we have here is skirt.
What?
Skirt.
What? Wait, what? Like skirt?
Yeah, like in the
Or
the ad lib on a song.
What?
It's supposed to mimic the sound of something of screeching tires and is used as an interjection. For example, if someone is sharing juicy gossip, their friend might respond with a skirt to get them to stop and repeat something exciting they just said.
It means basically like stop, run it back. But
Where are you
who
reciting these
uses
lines
it
from?
like that?
I'm on dictionary.com right now.
That's on
Dictionary.com?
Dictionary.com?
This is dictionary.com.
Webster's dictionary has anointed that an actual word, I guess.
So there you go.
Webster's has fallen
Just like-
off.
Wow.
All right.
Where are we?
Well,
I don't know. I kind of like that.
no cap, Ed.
No, that was good.
No cap.
No.
Stop. Don't start it. I've created a monster.
All right. Before we talk about the Grammys, which is Tom's favorite conversation
Oh,
of the year,
boy.
Oh my goodness.
we got to talk about the Grammys. I
This
want
is a stressful episode, guys.
It is.
Yes.
Oof.
I want to bring up this conversation. Not really so much about the album itself from Division, but the conversation that has come with this album and what I've seen a lot, especially on the Soul and Stereo Cypher, which is everyone's favorite place to be.
Shout out to Cypher on Facebook.
So Division puts out this album, executive produced by Jermaine Dupri and Brian Michael Cox, two legendary producers, many hits. But the complaint that I see online with this album is, although they're at hand and they're putting their imprint on the record, it starts sounding less like a Division album. And so from people's perspective, they're trying to get more into the mainstream, which then sort of deviates them from their original core. Was that a thing that you guys thought about in the 90s and the 2000s? Like, can you guys think of any obvious examples of that happening and it not working in the artist's favor? Because like back in the 90s and 2000s, it was a big deal for people to collaborate with like Timbaland or Rodney Jerkins, but I don't think I ever got that pushback from people that said, "Oh, they're deviating from that sound that they created." I don't know. Do you guys remember that when albums were coming out back then?
I'll say this: like with social media right now, we have like the up close seat. I mean, especially with Jermaine Dupri, he shares so much, so we can see inside the studio. So we have the driver's seat and up front row seat of what they're actually trying to do, and we can see it play out. I feel like back in the early 2000s, the late 90s,
Yeah.
like something came out and would just be a flop, and like you wouldn't really think, more into it. It just didn't work, and like maybe you didn't really think about it more, but it flopped. I never really. I mean, that's a tough question. I didn't really think about it, but or even how would it apply in this situation? Because I didn't. Then again, I wasn't Division's audience, so I didn't really check them out prior to this.
Yeah.
What's interesting is though they have, I mean, a producer is part of the group, so you feel like he'd at least help steer the sound to what the group is known for. And I guess that didn't work, but I can't compare. So I don't know. Ed, did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, a couple of things. First, I'll get on Division. I have not heard the album yet, so that's on the list of 40-something albums.
Ed, that album came out like last month. You're slipping here.
I'm a very busy man.
All right.
Give me time. Anyway, so I have not heard the album yet, but I was pretty much, of the three of us on the show, like I was a big Division fan. I thought they had a lot of talent. I will say this, because their album before this one, it almost felt like two albums. It was called Amusing Her Feelings. There was one side, I think it was the second half, that felt like Division. Like it felt really good, really soulful, but a new generation of soul. But it was rooted in kind of traditional R&B. The first half was all the future stuff and all the weird strip club alien zombie music that I'm like,
alien zombie music.
Alien zombie music.
Wow.
Yes. So that did not work for me. So to hear from the kind of criticisms of this album, I'm not that surprised, because it was clear they were shifting that way anyway. And, we've all heard the first single, and we have our thoughts on that. And the other song that Kyle mentioned earlier, I have my thoughts on that. But it doesn't surprise me that they're starting to shift mainstream, because that's what they want to do. But to your earlier question, Kyle, yes, that did happen occasionally, and I'm struggling to think of a good example. There were definitely times where artists would kind of co-op a sound that was hot in the moment and it didn't quite fit them. On the Soul and Stereo YouTube page, this video will be coming out in a couple of weeks. I recorded it today. I talked about Mariah's albums and I re-ranked Mariah's discography. So y'all, the labs can go cuss me out in a couple of weeks when they see that video. But some of her later album, well, not later, like the I think it was like early 2000s, late 99, like Rainbow and stuff like that. Those albums were kind of leaning toward more current sounds, and it didn't really fit like Mariah. I can't think of an example where someone did a whole album that just sounded completely left field. But what usually would happen is an artist that was established would work with kind of for an example, a Timbaland or a Neptunes or whomever, and their sound just didn't really mesh well. So yeah, it happened, but just not to a whole scale of the whole album sounds weird. So it happened.
We were talking about Babyface. I mean,
Yeah.
the song "There She Goes" to me never really felt like a Babyface song. I don't know. I mean, that felt to me a little bit forced with the Neptunes. That was not what I was expecting from Babyface at the time. If we're gonna go in that direction,
Yeah.
That's a good example. But it usually was confined to one song. Like it was usually I'm gonna make a single, and it's like, that doesn't sound right. I can't think of an example where like a whole album went though.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think here. Yeah, I can't really think of one.
Can I ask you guys something, Kyle?
Yeah.
Do I have a few minutes to ask you guys something on the similar note? And to me, Jermaine Dupri can do no wrong. So I got to shout out our boy.
Yeah.
But when I interviewed him a couple weeks ago, he mentioned, I actually told him that Usher's Don't Waste My Time with LMA and Bad Habits, I felt like would have been a great rollout for Usher's next album, which obviously never came.
100%.
And he disagreed. But
Really?
his reason for disagreeing was that radio, especially younger radio, wasn't receptive to those songs. They kind of had to scrap it and start over. I was kind of surprised to hear that. And then he's like, we have to go back to the drawing board and kind of find a sound that would work for that younger format. I mean, are you guys surprised to hear something like that?
I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed isn't the right word. I was gonna say disappointed. That's really not the right word because I love that song. Kyle, I know you love both of those songs.
Yeah.
Those are
But
great songs.
yes, they were great and some of the best stuff I've heard from Usher in years. And look, as much as we love Usher and celebrate Usher, y'all know how I feel about his more recent albums where he was clearly that's a great example. We were talking about artists that were stepping out of their comfort zone. That A album, that No Limit album, a lot of those albums, Usher felt like he was being shoehorned into a sound that didn't work for him. So I understand an artist of Usher's level being like he wants to hit. Like he feels like he can make a hit, and he does have buzz right now. So I understand going back to the drawing board and trying to find a middle ground. I just hope that he does it and still sounds like Usher and doesn't sound like Usher cosplaying his future and trying to make an album there. That's my only criticism.
Well, as you guys are talking, because here's the thing. Any record that we like from Usher is probably not going to be a radio hit at this point.
You're not
Because
wrong.
if you
It could
think
be
of-
on Adult R&B though. It could.
yeah,
be
but
number
I
one.
think they're trying to reach more because that song did well on Adult R&B, but they're trying to reach like mainstream hip hop R&B, and
They're
that's why-
Billboard 100 in it.
that's why LMA was on the record, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so that should have worked. But I'm really trying to think right now. Is it the song that's the problem, or is it Usher that's the problem? Because he's in his 40s now. So what I was trying to
Yes.
do right now was
There you go, Kyle.
was to look at the urban charts and see, are there songs that feel like this Usher record that are doing well at that format, but because they're in their 20s, they're
Mhm.
given the opportunity to be played at that station because Money Long's Hours and Hours, that's a traditional R&B record. There's nothing
Yep.
trendy about it, and that did really well. So, and I don't know about the Silk Sonic records. I'm assuming that did well, but Bruno Mars is also like an exception because everyone likes Bruno Mars, just like everyone likes Usher, but people have seemed to like really age Usher at this point.
They have.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of and I wish I could pull up the charts right now, but I think that's the question that I have is it the song problem? Because yeah, you could probably have Usher do more trap music and maybe that does well, but I don't think he needs to go down that route.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's like he's in his 40s. You know that the music industry frowns upon older artists, and Usher just might be falling victim to what a lot of people fell victim to, like Boyz II Men in the early 2000s. They kind of got phased out after, and they
Yeah.
were still putting out quality music, but it's just
Yep.
times have changed, and so I don't know. I don't know the answer. I do hope that Usher continues to put out the music that he's been making the last couple of years, and he doesn't just change the direction. And what we get is something that's a lot more trendy because it's the right music. I think
Yeah.
the core audience is happy with it, but
Yeah.
again, I don't know if we're the ones that kind of determine what he makes at this point. I think he still wants a radio success.
Yeah, unfortunately, Kyle, you made some very strong points that we forget about because we forget as we age. Like we old heads, everybody on this podcast is old head, but we forget it because we came up with Usher. Usher doesn't feel old to us. He doesn't feel like
Right.
he's older. But when we are looking at a marketing standpoint, he absolutely is. And Usher, I'm sure, doesn't feel older.
Yeah.
He feels like, 2000. He's going to do his backspins.
Yeah.
But there is going to be a bias against older artists. Kyle ain't wrong, and it doesn't matter. We've seen artists, like your boy Tank, we've seen them kind of go down the trap route, and it works in small doses, and it works temporarily, but it's not lasting. It comes off as like a one and done. So I don't think that'll work for him. He tried it before. We saw what happened. Let's not do that. But he's always going to be an uphill battle if he wants to top the Billboard 100 because he's going to have that working against him. It's not fair, but unless he's going to get something popping on TikTok, I just don't know how that's going to work. As a reviewer, all I care about is quality music. So I just want something dope. I don't care, but I understand the allure of having a number one record.
Well, we saw what happened am I allowed to discuss R. Kelly? But look what happened about 5 to 10 years ago with his last two albums. He was chasing that younger sound,
Mm.
and those albums were terrible. Oh my goodness.
Hideous. Hideous.
Oh, so bad. What were those out? I never remember those two albums.
Black Panties and The Buffet.
Mm.
Oh my
Horrible.
goodness, yes. So bad. But
You guys
he was
need
in
to-
that same mindset, chasing that
Hey.
younger sound.
You guys gotta lower your voice. There's R. Kelly stands waiting outside with pitchforks. They
Oh,
still exist.
They absolutely exist. I just saw some car lights come on in my driveway.
Still?
They're about to come
Oh.
get me.
Oh yeah.
Still.
Yep.
Oh yes.
Yep.
They should
Wow.
work on trying to
Podcast
break him
drops.
out of jail. They should bring him out of jail and help him
Oh,
out.
they were raising money, like literally raising money to get him out of jail.
Oh.
Ain't enough money in the world to get Gargamel out of jail. I'm sorry.
I got a really dumb question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway because I pulled up the urban charts here.
Mhm.
So, a lot of hip hop stuff. Somehow Monica's on this chart, which kind of surprised me. But it features
song?
some song with Ty Dolla $ign, Friends.
Oh yeah, that song.
But the only I think traditional R&B record. There's a couple here. There's the Diddy and Bryson Tiller record, Gotta Move On. We know why
Yeah.
that's up the charts.
I'll move
Killer.
on. All right.
But in terms of veteran R&B acts, you've got Beyonce with Cuff It, which sonically doesn't deviate too much from a record like Don't Waste My Time. And this is a top 5 record at Urban. Is it just because it's Beyonce?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's it.
But hold on. Why is Beyonce so different than Usher in terms of celebrity and fame and popular?
No, Beyonce. I mean, I love Usher, but Beyonce is just in another stratosphere when it comes to that because she has, number one, Usher has kind of been in the background until he started doing this in Tiny Deskin. Usher's been in the background for a while. Beyonce has always been celebrated as the greatest performer of her generation, the biggest performer right now. So she's always had this universal appeal. So she can sing the phone book. She'll be fine.
Sorry, I dug more into it. So there's a record with the City Girls and Usher. I don't know if you guys heard that song, but it's pretty much an Usher record, and that's actually on Urban. So
I actually like that song. It's like we were talking earlier before the podcast about Chingy and the Tyrese song, and I was like, that song is great. If you take Tyrese and just remove Chingy from the whole song, that's a great song. And that's the same thing with the City Girl song. Keep Usher, remove them, banging song.
So then here's the thing though, because how come it's that when Usher is the main artist, it doesn't see the success? Because there's been times like the City Girls record, it's essentially an Usher record, or one of those Chris Brown records that feature Usher. It's essentially that one's more of a collaborative effort, but Usher is definitely a main part of the song. Or that Summer Walker song with Usher, in which Usher really shines on that one. Like those songs do well, but when Usher puts out his own music, it doesn't. Yet sonically, it's not that much of a change.
Because it goes down to how it is. It's still an age bias. Think of it like, I'm trying to think of a good example. If it was 2000, it was a song Kanye West featuring Luther Vandross. Oh, yes, it's going to blow up because of Kanye. But if it's just Luther by itself, it's going to be this mental block of, oh, that's not for me. That's for them. That's for mama and them and auntie and them. And I think, unfortunately, that's where we are with us.
Poor auntie and them.
Yep. All right. Can we talk about the Grammys now?
Do we have to?
Well, can we break this down really quickly? Because every year we see the same thing. We see these albums get nominated, and then we see this backlash from Twitter, and people are saying you didn't pick this album, you forgot about this artist. And I think it's becoming clearer and clearer, thanks to my guy Harvey Mason Jr., that all of these albums are voted by the committee. So I think at this point it's pretty black and white how it's coming about. Now I don't know what influences these voters to make these picks. My hunch is that they don't actually listen to every album and they just pick what they know. But I don't know. I don't really see a point to complaining at this point. Like, we know what the process is, and you're not going to get independent albums, Tom. I'm sorry to say that. You're not going to get independent artists being nominated, except maybe PJ Morton because he's a Grammy darling. But That's just what it is at this point. I don't see the point of complaining about it.
Well, player, because you're using common sense, and common sense ain't too common on social media. Again, because I recorded a whole bunch of videos today. I recorded a Grammy prediction video that will go on the Soul and Stereo YouTube page, maybe around the same time this episode drops. So look for that early next week. Anywho, enough of the cheap plugs. Kyle is right. Every year we see the same mess. All these tweets about the Grammys don't matter, doesn't mean anything, blah, 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 blah. Then the list comes out and then we're screaming, oh, my favorite got snubbed, blah, blah, blah. Nicki Minaj shouldn't have an album. Pick a struggle, player. Either it doesn't matter and you don't care, or you do care. You can't have both. But we know the way this works is it's not hidden. A lot of the Grammy voters are on my Twitter and they say, hey, I voted for Summer. I nominated her. She didn't get up there. So yes, there is a nomination process. Kyle, you're right, because I've told the story many times from a couple of years ago when I was talking to a woman who said that she voted for Cardi B. I think it was like 2018 because she was the only artist that she recognized and she didn't even listen to the other people in the nomination. It was her, Pusha T, Nipsey Hussle. That was when Nipsey was alive before y'all cared. You don't care about folks till they die.
Oh,
that's another thing. That's another thing. Hey. Y'all didn't show my boy love till he was gone. But anyway, yes, there is something that has been said that unfortunately some people who vote aren't very knowledgeable and they just vote for what they know. Not everybody, of course, but that's there. That's a process our boy has to work out. However, this is not a secret. I don't know why everybody's confused. There's a nomination process from the Academy. They nominate, then we get these, then they vote on them. That's it. That's it.
Ed, you're making it too complicated. First of all, 3 things. Number 1, the R&B portion is presented during like some buffet portion of the award ceremony that's not even on TV.
So it's during the bathroom break. It's so
exactly. Number 2, if they nominated 5 Eric Robersons in every category, you know, the great music but artists that no one really knows, who would even tune in? I mean, it's just being realistic. And number 3, they need to nominate the Beyoncés of the world to even make the Grammys as big as it. So Beyonce can say, I was nominated for 5 Grammys. That makes it seem like the Grammys is some great thing. That's all, to me, it's simple as that.
You can get her there to perform and blah, blah, blah. Yes, you are absolutely correct.
Simple as that.
Maybe that's why Mary J got nominated in every category, even though she put out one of her worst albums. I do not understand.
Well,
that was E.T. Bowser or SoulSarah.com.
Yes, yes, they're gonna tear me up, Kyle. But I said what I said. I love Mary, but I did not love that album. What is going on?
Well, what we can do here, because I gave you your Christmas gifts earlier, I can take those back and I can get you guys memberships into the Grammy committee, and you guys can change the tides.
You can take the Jacquees album back. Yes, I'm okay with that.
I could imagine me and Ed at that meeting. We'd be like flipping tables and like rustling up all sorts of mess, like getting kicked out. And
I wouldn't last 15 minutes. No, because I'd be yelling. I'm like, "Where is Ari?" And I'm drop kicking tables. Like it's not gonna happen.
Wow. All right. Well, that's that, Ed. I haven't seen a love letters from you in a minute. What's going on with that?
Because your boy's been so busy. There is a love letter that's kept to come. It's in the drafts. I'll share that in the next couple of weeks. There's so much stuff happening. I can't keep up. I spent a very long time ranking Snoop Dogg's albums. There are like 20 of those freaking things. So that has been like a month of my life. Now that I've gotten over that hump, we'll see some more stuff coming. Love letters coming soon.
Wow.
Lots of business to put in the street.
Can I ask Yeah, that's a lot of work. Can I ask a Marvel-related question to Ed?
Certainly.
I keep seeing this commercial for Black Adam, and the guy looks like an unstoppable beast that would not be defeated by anyone. So where is his place in the Marvel universe? I just don't understand.
First of all, player, he's not Marvel. He's DC.
Oh, man.
I don't know, man.
Secondly,
it's comics.
Yeah. Secondly, yes, he is an unstoppable beast. I haven't seen the movie yet because, again, I'm a busy man, Kyle. I'm a busy man. So I haven't seen the movie yet. But yes, he's up there with Superman as far as wrecking buildings and stuff. He's a pretty nasty customer.
Could he beat Superman?
No, he couldn't be Superman. I'm sure they'll try to be like, ooh, they're gonna fight and who's gonna win. Superman's gonna give him that work. Sorry. Superman's gonna give everybody that work.
Does Dwayne do a people's elbow in the movie?
Let me tell you something. I said this on social media. I have not seen that movie, but if I see him raise that eyebrow, if I see him do the rock bottom, if I see him do the la 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 la, the smell what the Black Adam is cooking, I am walking up out of there. Every movie he has to do some rock thing. Like that's why he takes me out of his films. Like just be a dude. Don't act like The Rock all the time. You didn't see Jamie Foxx's Ray Charles just take his glasses off and just start dancing around like he was on the Jamie Foxx show. No, he was Ray. Like, be in character, dude. Be in character.
All right, Ed. Well, I'm going to give you a love letters question really quickly here before we get out of here.
Okay.
Because we've been talking about Usher a lot this episode. We're going to go to the Here I Stand album. I know some of you guys love that album. It's an album cut. This is called What's a Man to Do? Are you guys familiar with this record?
I'm very familiar with it. Yes.
So the question is, what's a man to do when he's loving too? Ed?
Well, the first thing the man can do is love one and get rid of the other one. Because, brother, you in big trouble. This is why divorces happen. You can't love two.
But Ed,
love one.
Sorry, Usher also says he don't want to lie, but he can't tell the truth. There's limitations to what he can do here, Ed.
I don't want to lie, but I can't tell the truth. Sounds like you want to lie to me.
It's a tough situation for Usher.
Yeah.
How is this a tough situation? Stop lying. Then like get rid of the other person or get rid of both people because you can't get your life right.
He told you in that recent single he's got bad habits. What else do you want from the guy?
He's had bad habits for like 20 years now.
It's true.
What is going on, Usher?
It's funny because I was at his Vegas residency recently, and every other song is either him saying I messed up, or I'm a bad lover, or just I'm not a faithful guy.
Yes.
Some
he
guys
want to start a new relationship with you. This is what he do. This happens all the time. This has been 98, Usher. You ain't got it together yet?
It's a process.
Well, it's interesting.
Process?
Guys, I went to Neo's album release event a few months ago, and he had dancers on stage, and he said, "Oh, it's so tough being a faithful married man." And then, like 2 weeks later, he announced he was getting divorced or something. It was
well,
pretty
he wasn't lying.
I guess he was right. I guess he was right.
He wasn't lying.
Yeah, that's bad.
But you know what? We don't know what these artists go through. Imagine being famous and people are just coming to you with whatever.
I'm sure they are, but I'm just like, look, if their situation is getting too hot, you need to end this situation. I'll say this, at least they don't lie. Like, they're like, yep, draws coming at me left and right. What are you going to do? I need him to make this decision, not the lady.
Listen, Ed, situations will arise.
Oh, God.
There you go. There you go.
You got to be smart about it, Tom.
There you go. Shout outs to Usher. I think that's it for this week's podcast here. Ed, I know you just did a Snoop Dogg review of his entire discography. After this podcast, I'm going to listen to, I think it's on the R&G album here, the record Step Your Game Up with Lil Jon. Isn't that like a top 5 song of all time?
No.
You know that
but
song,
I actually like that
song.
album a lot. That's one of the better Snoop Dogg albums.
It's like with Lil Jon and Trina. It's like the loudest song of all time.
Oh, God, yes. It's a lot. But that's a good album. If you're going to listen to an album, do that. So, yes, players, please don't let my hours be in vain. Go check out that Snoop Dogg ranking. And, of course, I have the review of Babyface's album. I have a review of Nas's new album, one of the best albums of the year. I have a retrospective of my boys, Levert, Sweat, and Gill. LSG celebrated 20 years of their album. So, go check that out. And on the Soul and Stereo YouTube page, I just recorded a whole bunch of videos that are coming. Grammy predictions, over and underrated albums of R&B Part 2. Mariah's albums ranked, all those coming out in the next couple of weeks. Your boy been busy. Love Letters, album of the year is coming up. When am I gonna sleep, y'all? I'm tired.
Can I shout out a Snoop Dogg song?
Yeah,
I'm still stuck on California Roll. That
Oh,
song
yes.
is so good.
that album is
goodness.
so good. Shout out to the Bush album, one of his best albums.
Yes.
I apologize. I didn't read your list yet, but did you like Signs?
Yes, I love Signs. One of my favorites.
Great
from
song.
There you
Great
go.
song. Love
Yep.
that song.
On You Know I Got Soul, we recently interviewed Coco Jones. Go check out that EP Ed and I
Good
were just
EP.
talking about earlier. Good EP. Tom, it's interesting. I know we were supposed to wrap this up, but is it just me, or are you noticing like a lot of major labels investing into female R&B artists again? Not so much the males, but it seems like they're really pushing the female acts. I don't know what the outcome is going to be because R&B doesn't really get played on mainstream radio anymore, but it's kind of cool to see a lot of female R&B artists getting signed.
And I'm actually hearing some singing. Like if you listen to Coco Jones, you hear some singing. It's not what I expected from a label pushing an artist, and I've heard other examples just like her.
Alex
So I'm
Vaughn
actually
is another
excited.
one. Yep.
We'll
That's
see
why I
where-
said I think
we'll
that we're
see-
getting to
yeah.
a point where a generation is starting to accept a little bit more actual singing and not a bunch of talky talk.
Well, I actually disagree. I don't think it's going to work.
Oh,
At
I
least
didn't
they're
say it was going
trying.
to work. I
At
didn't
least
say it
they're
was going to
trying.
work. I'm saying that it's more accepted.
Yeah, I'm happy they're trying, like
Yes.
Kyle said, but I don't know if it's going to catch on and be more of what's in the mainstream. We'll have to see. Time will tell, but I like to hear it.
Actually, I just thought of something else. Shout outs to Tank and Jay Valentine. They do that R&B Money podcast, the second best R&B podcast, us being
Mhm.
number one. I have
Yep.
to just put that in there. But they recently had songwriter Harold Lilly on there. And Tom, this is like his first ever interview. Harold Lilly doesn't do interviews. But he talked about the evolution of R&B and why things have become the way that they are. It was a very interesting perspective that he brought to the table because 2008 I think is universally agreed as like the real downturn to R&B, like the sound like really started changing. That's also like the time that Barack Obama was elected president, right?
Yep. I'm telling you, if I write a book, it will be about 2008 and how everything changed because it
So-
all ties together.
So
Wait, how does that tie into the music? I don't understand.
So from his perspective, once Barack became president, people were celebrating, and you celebrate to dance music, to happy music, to upbeat music, and that was just the vibe that everyone was in for the last 8. Hear me out. This is history, not mine. For the last for the 8-year run that Barack had, that's what everyone was on. Everyone was happy and go lucky. And then once that presidential transition occurred and it was Trump, people needed that. They needed real music. They needed something to feel again because it was no longer happy times, and hence why we're swinging back towards more singing and more music that people can feel. This is his theory, not mine, but just something for you guys to ponder about until the next
Harold,
podcast.
Harold, we love you, but swing and a miss on that
Yeah,
one. That's way off.
I feel
Not
like
even close.
this needs to be a whole new episode. I have a lot to say about that.
Oh man,
I do think there's a correlation between Barack and me, but I don't have time to go into it. It has more to do with social media than the feelings in the air. But we'll talk about that another time.
I'm just trying to
When
think.
is Tank needs to bring all three of us onto the R&B Money
Oh, that
podcast.
ain't happening.
Oh no.
Well, Ed,
That
you're
ain't
not welcome.
happening.
Ed, you're not welcome. Me and Kyle might be invited though.
Y'all will get up there before I will.
I will gift Tank this, and we'll have a good old time.
Something tells me that he will enjoy that.
But
Now,
yeah,
if we ever got invited to Nori's podcast, I would probably last 5 minutes. I'd be on the floor from drinking.
yeah, that
Oh my God.
that show
Now,
is different. Yeah.
I want to be on that show. I'll just have my bottle of water and pretend that it's something. And then I can give y'all that real. Because
Actually,
somebody needs some real.
That's what Shaq did when he was on the podcast. He just drank water.
Smart man.
I thought that wasn't allowed. I thought you had to drink or something.
Listen, if Shaq comes on your podcast, he gets to do whatever he
I was
wants.
going to say,
Yeah.
you're not going to tell Shaq no.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's it for this week. I'm trying to see what else is what's the Christmas season now, so I doubt anything else is. Oh, Lucky Day's putting out the deluxe version of his album, so you're gonna get a couple more songs on there. But yeah, I think we're pretty much at the tail end of the year, so what you'll see from us is our year-end countdown.
It's
I
coming.
don't know if we decided if it's 50 or 75 or 100, but
100.
we're going for 100.
We're going 100.
That's quite optimistic, but okay, we're gonna
make it. There might
Wow.
be some blanks after like number 77, but we'll make it.
Didn't the Isley Brother album have like a bunch of trap songs, Ed?
It didn't have a bunch of trap songs, but it had some trap songs. That album's pretty good. Check it out if you haven't heard it. It's pretty decent.
He set the Guinness World Record for oldest artist to do a trap song. Impressive.
Oh my God.
Nope.
He is up there with Rick Ross and having a good old time.
That's true. Oh man, that just brought me back to the Eeny Meeny Miny Mo record by Keith Sweat.
That's better than Eeny Meeny Miny Mo. I've got a disc keep on my old joint.
Oh man. Good old Trap and B. Anyway, we're out of here. We'll talk again next time. We'll have that list ready for everyone so you guys can all check out all the great music in R&B in 2022. There is still some good music out there. As our friend DJ Soulchild once said, what's his playlist called? R&B Ain't Dead? Is that?
That's it.
That's it. Go check that out. You might get some New Jack Swing music in there.
I bet you will. I bet you will.
So anyway, we are out of here. Everyone stay safe, and we'll talk next time. Peace out.
All right, players.
Nope. No cap.
No cap.